Of demand in the market. And the essence of today's edition of our conversation is to go into that subject and have a discussion around it and have our speakers, the panel, to share insights on what they know about the Web3 Hub and expect questions from the audience. So today we're going to be jumping into a discussion about exploring the future of blockchain technology, and we expect for value to be shared from the slides that will be shared by the speaker, and we expect more information or questions from the audience regarding what will be shared. So welcome you to this section, and do well to follow PowerLM Project on Twitter, on social media, just to stay in tune with what PowerLM Project is doing in Africa. Their mission is to train 1 million dev in Africa by 2027. That's an amazing mission. And this kind of mission is the kind of mission we need to build this right set of skills needed in Africa to power the next technology era. So PowerLM Project, thank you for what you're doing in Africa. We have NODO, which is a Web3 media platform that is about showcasing Africa to the world. And what NODO does is it tells the African story from the African narrative, not the West telling the story anymore. So now NODO is the media for the Web3 landscape in Africa. So do well also to stay connected with NODO and find out what NODO is doing on the continent. And you can visit nodo.xyz, sign up, and you could also get a lot of grants. There are a lot of grants. There is enablement from VCs. It's an exposure platform for whatever you're doing in the Web3 space. And finally, we have NODO. We have Emurgo Africa, which I'm the community manager at Emurgo Africa. Emurgo Africa, it's a Cardano founding entity, one of the Cardano founding entity. And the thought of it, where will be the next to build the next Web3 infrastructure in the world? And Africa was one of the places that it could bet to say, oh, let's invest in Africa, let's support, find resources, support the continent. And the team created an $100 million investment vehicle, which about 1 year plus, I've invested in about 45 projects across Africa, and they will keep investing. So do well to visit Emurgo Africa on Twitter. We're also on LinkedIn, and you can visit our website, emurgo.africa, where we'll share amazing information about what we're doing in the African continent and about. And once more, I know we have an amazing audience which have high expectations to learn this evening. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for being patient with us as we get started with this conversation. Mune, are you there with me? Mune?
Yes, Emeka, I am here. Thank you so much for the introduction. So for those who are not here, maybe I can just introduce myself again. My name is Munene. I am the lead community at Powerland Projects. I'm happy that Emeka, you have mentioned what we do in Africa. And basically, we are just empowering the youths with technology as we go forward to implementing our ambitious goal of 1 million developers in Africa by 2027. So with that said, I think I'm ready to share what I know in the Web3 space with everybody today. And I'm open to learn also from you. And with that, maybe we can start the conversation. And I'm really excited to be here. Emeka.
You prepared a slide for the You can go ahead and start the presentation.
Okay, maybe just to start off the conversation, I would really love to start at a small, or let me call it a tiny bit, where we'll be talking about what terms are used in the blockchain space and the Web3 space. So I would just like to start by maybe saying what Web3 is. And Web3, the way I understand it, is a new generation of internet technology. And what I mean by this is that it's an improvement of what we already have in the Web2. So the Web3 is built on some core principles that make it different from what we have right now in the Web2. And just to maybe highlight them, one of them is the blockchain technology. This is what powers the the Web3 technology as a whole. So everything you see in the Web3 space is built on the blockchain technology. We will dive more into that. We just want to maybe just get what it is before we dive into it. Then apart from blockchain, we also have decentralized applications. And what this means is we have applications that are built on the blockchain. Apart from now Web3 being built on the blockchain, there are applications that are built
Yeah, yeah. You've given a foundational class on Web3. I can now go ahead and say, yeah, I finished my foundational class. I got lots of information regarding the basics of what it means to be a Web3, ecosystem. So what I would say is to simplify it is that the nature of which data has actually been stored in Web 2, whereby people use data without permission, a lot of abuse of data. I think Web 3 promises to make more data privacy and ownership more to the people who owns the data and more beneficial to those who own the data. And being a it's interesting to know that we can be some the Web3 hub for the globe, not just for us on this today's on this Web3.
I believe there's somebody here, maybe you are saying, maybe I don't need this Web3, the time in my country, we don't use this technology. So maybe just to give you a little background of where I started. When I first interacted with my first smart contracts, that was in 2017. And that is the first time I acquired my first Bitcoin. So, and with that, the traction was not as fast as I thought, because since 2017, unfortunately, I landed into a scam, which lasted for 2 years. Then now in around 2019, that is when now there was real traction in the African space. And now we saw guys like Remitano coming in, which is from Seychelles, but their biggest market is here in Africa. We saw Binance coming in and branding themselves also as Binance Africa, and so many other companies that came in. Maybe Emeka, you can also share if how your journey has been. When did you start using the Web3 technology, and how has it been so far for you?
Thank you. It's been an amazing experience, and it has actually been like a liberation call from the financial limitation we had in Africa. So back then, back as far back as I think 2015, 2016, I was actually very engaging in Bitcoin talk, and I met someone which is named Mark, who brought me into the Ethereum community around 2016, mid 2016 thereabout. And that was where I started getting involved in blockchain project. Then it wasn't called Web3. It was like pure blockchain project where you had a lot of ICOs going on. And the interesting part for me was I was able to be part of a global community where you could also have the potential to play a role in something bigger than you. You could actually acquire nodes. You could actually be part of mining communities. And these were real stuff. And I, coming from a technology background, finishing as a telecoms engineer, I had interest in such engineering innovations because I had some, technical skills and all that. So being able to contribute and being able to find myself escaping that limitations that currently where I was based in Africa and Nigeria, that I can be more than what I can become more than just being in my room. So it was kind of a liberty call to me. And from then onward, I think I've come across more than 30 plus projects which I've been involved with. I've also gained a lot of experience, and it is. And currently now, also being with the Cardano community, also seeing a lot of amazing things happening within the African ecosystem, and talking with a lot of founders, with my engagement with them, I feel this is the spot for Africans to be able to expose their product to the world. And the integration with global collaboration is possible in the Web3 space. Looking at the breakup from the limits of what is possible in Web2, I think Web3 can give us more global integration for the African product. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey for me, and I'm very hopeful to see a lot of amazing use cases emerge from Africa to the global market in the Web3 space. Thank you.
Thank you, Emeka. I like it that you have highlighted that there are amazing projects coming into the African landscape. I believe this is the emerging Web3 hub, and we are yet to see a lot of untapped potential being brought to life or being actioned. So as we continue the conversation, I would like us to just shift a little bit to the side of looking at the African landscape. As we have seen from those who have been in the space, it's kind of slow in terms of adoption. people don't really want to come in. Big corporations don't really want to adopt this technology. And with this, we can just look at the challenges that we are facing. And one of the challenges we can highlight or we can look into so that we can start improving is the education part of it. So looking at the Web3 space, and I'm happy with what NODO Africa is doing in the African landscape. There is very little knowledge about the Web3 space that is being shared out there. So looking at what we have as Africa, most of it is coming from abroad. The applications, the use cases that we are using here in Africa are use cases which were meant for people living abroad. But us as Africans, what have we done? What can we do? So one of the key things that I can highlight is the education part of it, and that is where now NODO is coming in. We as the African landscape, is there a way we can bring in education to a point where everybody is knowledgeable about Web3? I know there are also populations which have not onboarded the Web2. There are people who are still struggling with this. So how can we bridge this gap? And one of the ways that we are seeing these companies now coming in is through projects like the Powerland projects. So what you realize is that Africa is a youthful community. The biggest percentage of the African youth community is a youth. So Powerland is coming in to take these youths and equip them with the skills in technology so that they can advance. And we would like us as the pioneers, if I may call ourselves that, those who were there before, this is what we would like to see happening in the space, because to the blockchain space or the Web3 space. Let me give examples of people like Binance or the FTX, which crumbled just the other day. So these guys built their technologies before the regulation part of the process. So, and what happened after that? The government came in, and when the government comes in, they are coming to see if there is somewhere they can maybe get something from this. How can they be part of this? So, and that is why you find most these big corporations are being sued by governmental maybe organizations like the SEC. And this is coming in because they were not involved in the regulatory process of this ecosystem. So in Africa, what can we do about this? What we can look to focus on is starting or igniting these conversations at the community level. So apart from us adopting this technology, starting to use cryptocurrencies, starting to use smart contracts in our businesses and all that, we should be the ones to ignite the conversation and involve the governments. Maybe I see the African landscape works best when people are working in groups. In Kenya, we call them chamas, or what we can call a circle. So when a circle is coming to access something or wants something to be changed, say a policy or something, it works better than an individual coming into the space and trying to push a certain agenda. So we should ignite this regulatory conversation around our countries, as we also bring in this aspect of the Web3 and adopting this new technology. And I believe this is what will put us in that space where we can now, even investors, as they come in, they can now feel secure. They can feel there is a good leverage, a good sense of security with the investment because government is being involved and all these other things. I don't know what, Emeka, maybe you have a comment on that before you continue?
No, you've said it all. So what I'm looking for is, having Africans understand where we currently are with the Web3 space. Looking at, we had over 1,200% increase in funding coming into Africa, and this means that there have been an on-ramp or an increase in the interest in the African market from 2020 right now to 2023. That means if we properly position Africa, this could be another economic support for the youthful population we have in Africa. So you've said a lot, and I'll just let it keep going. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone keeps tabs with Parliament Project, who is interested in teaching Africa 1 billion plus on how to develop and how to build solutions for African market. Thank you so
much. Okay, thank you, Emeka. Before we continue our discussion into how we can look into now empowering communities to adopt these Web3 technologies, what are some of the success stories that we are seeing in Africa? Let me start there.
Okay.
Sorry, Emeka.
Yeah, go ahead. So you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to give a few highlights before you come in. Okay. So I've been looking at applications like Yellow Card, who have really tried to gain traction in the market. I've looked at applications like Remitano, and what I can say is that once these products come into the market, they realize that it is not easy to penetrate the African market. One of the challenges is that we do not have what I can call good finances or good capital to put into business. What do Africans want to focus on? Africans want to focus on agriculture. They want to focus on things that will impact a lot of people in the space. So I wouldn't say we have seen a lot of success in the Web3 space yet, but I believe this is just the beginning, and this is how it always starts. And if you look at these platforms, what they are doing is that they are bringing in a small aspect of the Web3 technology, and the bigger chunk of this is based on the Web2, because we as Africans want our monies as fiat. Even if I send you cryptocurrency today, you won't be able to use these cryptocurrencies. You have to find somewhere, maybe a P2P platform on Remitano or on Binance, so that you can be able to get your fiat from these merchants. And this is maybe one of the key areas we should be looking to address on how we can, if not simplify this process, how can we make it fully adoptable to our communities? Emeka, you had something to say?
Looking at how the Web3 has helped, so there was a story about an artist in Ibadan, in the local community in Nigeria, where he has been doing art for a long time, and no success. We know Africans don't really buy art the way maybe the arts market in Africa is not really that engaging and all that. But when the NFT community came in, that was last year and early last year, he started, someone, approached him, started telling him about the NFT community. He started pushing some of his artwork to NFT communities and all that. Now, though that art community was able to sell over $100,000 worth of artwork, that was to a global community. They've never reached such a milestone in the local community in Nigeria and Ibadan. But due to the exposure to that Web3 gave them with the NFT community, they were able to achieve that resounding success. And this goes to show that the opportunity of Web3 is opening the African economy to the global market. Potential announcement, what you can announce now with what you do here is not more local, because currency now is global. Because when people see what you do from anywhere around the world, it's just like Facebook. Facebook is used in almost all countries. Google is used by almost all countries, but this came from one region and now is global. And I think Web3 can also expose Africa products to that such magnitude, because we've seen a lot of talent in Africa limited due to the exposure. And this is where we have platforms like NODO saying that we want to be focused on Pan-Africa. Let people discover what people are doing with Web3 solutions in Africa. Powerland Project is saying, let's empower people with skills. Let's make sure that people have the necessary skills necessary to build for the global market. Emurgo Africa is also saying that, oh, we have those financial resources, we have all the network resources. Let's bring this $100 million and support the African market. We know it's risky, but let's take a bet in the African market. So this is potentially a start of greater things to come. And sometimes those who get in early into a space tend to reap the fruits in the long run. So it's an encouraging one that this has been an empowering gift to the African community in different dynamics. So from skills led acquisition and to open up to financial market, more economic power, to open up to presence, being present, being available in different regions. Metaverse has become a thing now where they have remote works where people could use Metaverse to go. I was working with a Web3 company, and we had to resume office on a Metaverse kind of place where we come to office and we could click on people and have conversations on the Metaverse. So Web3 is not just empowering Africa, it's exposing us to a lot of dynamics that we would not naturally be exposed to due to the situation in our region. But we are thankful that lots of these resources are coming in. Like look at on this slide, you have Powerland. Powerland is on skills, NODO is on web discovery, and Emurgo is on resources for empowering the African market. So let's keep keying into this, and let's make Africa an emerging Web3 hub for the global market. Thank you.
Thank you, Emeka, for that. I like what you said about Powerland projects, Imago and NODO coming together. this is showing some level of commitment with these big companies or big corporations that are coming together to try and shape the conversation and try also to put Africa on the map. So moving on to our next conversation, point of conversation. How can we as Africa position ourselves as a Web3 hub? Because I think this is something we have not yet been able to realize, but we are on that process. So how can we position ourselves as Africa, as a community in this in the Web3 hub? So one of the ways I was looking at, and I believe Mecca, you'll also agree with me, is that we need to give the workforce, or let me just call them the youth, we need to equip them with the skills to be able to build solutions that fit Africa. And this does not go only to people in coding or software developers. This is all going to everybody in the space, and this is including people in businesses and people in policy. This is the governments now, and other organizations, non-governmental organizations. I also believe we need to foster a neutral or a kind of interborder, let me call it currency. So some like a central point where Africa will be able to communicate with each other in terms of financial services. I think this is one of the places that we are really missing out. Looking at the dollar, for example, the dollar has been able to cut across many countries, and maybe somebody would say the dollar is something big, it's something which has been there for long. Okay, let's look at something like the Japanese yen. The Japanese yen is also coming up. It is emerging as a currency which Africa states maybe would need to use to transact with China in the future. So these are just a few examples. And as Africa, how can we position ourselves as a Web3 hub? This is one of the places we should be really looking at. I like what East Africa community is trying to do, trying to come up with a currency for the East Africa community. But this would work even better if we had a bigger space or many more countries coming in together to contribute to this. And this would really shape the conversation of where do we want our money to go? Do we want to invest in Web3? And do we want to send money to Nigeria from Kenya to invest there? As maybe as investors, as big corporations, can we easily go to Zambia and put in our money in their ecosystem? And will it thrive? How easy is this? What are the repercussions? So these are some of the things that are being locked out because of the currency differences in Africa. And with this, that is why you find that most of the money is coming to the countries that are doing well in Africa. And this money is coming in as also as USD. Don't forget that. It's also coming in as US dollars. So you find that Kenya is getting a lot of money for funding. And this is now going back to what we have discussed before. There is that part of collaboration and funding. So when these guys from abroad see potential in Africa, where do they feel safe? They want to come to these big economies. And I can highlight Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, and Egypt. And if you look further, even into funding news and the money that has been brought to Africa, these are the countries that have benefited the most. Emeka would also attest to this, that Nigeria has a lot of startups, both in Web 2 and Web 3. With the recent government initiative to come up with the e-Naira, And personally, I've used the eNaira. I've traded with Nigerians through P2P platforms. And what I can say is that there is a lot of ease. There is no way I could have sent money to Nigeria before. I even didn't know I wanted to maybe send money to Nigeria or acquire something from Nigeria. So this has been really helpful, and this is one of the key areas we can look into streamlining so that we can be able to position Africa as a Web3 hub. I don't know if there's anything I'm leaving out, Emeka. Maybe you can chip in and comment.
So I like to say it's good to learn from the Indians, the way they made themselves a market to source skills when it comes to the tech, ecosystem. You find out that a lot of a lot of Indians are mostly on the top executive of companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, name it, Apple. You find a lot of Indians, thriving on that top layers of those companies. Why was that? How did they get there? And if it becomes an intentional activity set for people who took opportunity for those activities set, to become relevant in those fields. So for Africans to become the next Web3 hub, it's not going to be by just speaking about it. It's not going to be by talking about it. It's going to be by Africans who hear this, people who on this call, taking intentional step and saying, I want to be a leader in this Web3 or setting goals regarding it and looking at himself not just as an African, but as a global required skill. Like you look yourself, do not limit your thought that you're doing this for just Africa, but you're doing it that you're relevant to the global market. And I think with that mindset, I think we'll position Africa to be the Web3 hub. Because what I've learned is that a lot of people talk, and that's why I find that a lot of people are not able to complete online courses because they talk about it, they start, and the motivation dies down. But I think Africa needs to find ways to, stay around communities that motivate you. If you want to stay around Powerland projects, be around the community, ask questions, do not be on the silos. Try to understand what it takes. It's going to be a lot of hard work, to become. Because when we say Web3, it doesn't just stop at Web3. Web3 is a compassion, a compromise of AI, big data. It's going to infuse even the Web2. There's going to be a lot of integration. Web3, like I said, is just an infrastructural system. So there will be lots of important skills working, even data science, and name it. So a lot of skills will be coming together to build the ecosystem. It's not just going to be one set of kind of skills. So Africa needs to be motivating themselves, building communities to support themselves. These online communities are important. Trying to see the success stories of people and trying to emulate those for best results. I think we have to be intentional as a people to be able to become the Web3 hub in the nearest future. So, by saying this, follow companies like Powerland Project. Stay tuned with what you're doing. Stay tuned with what NODO is doing. Stay tuned with what Emurgo Africa is doing. From this, you will see a lot of projects springing up around this project I just mentioned. You will see a lot of founders coming around what those projects are doing. So by that way, you're gaining inspiration, you're being motivated, and you're seeing the potential of what possible can become the outcome if you follow a certain path. So I get to encourage you to follow these platforms on social media and stay tuned to the community for more updates on what is going on in the Web. I think I'll stop here.
Thank you, Emeka. I think I'll also join your campaign and to empower everybody, just stay close to these communities. Maybe just to add on to that, I think developers should be the ones leading this conversation. And for those who have tried to use the Web3 as developers, you can attest that it is not as hard as maybe people say, because most of the things in Web3, especially smart contracts, they are already pre-made for you. So if you want to use a certain smart contract, say to fulfill payments, you don't need to go and code the whole smart contract again. You just go and find from Solidity, from what is the name? There's this other platform on Ethereum, remix.org. These are places where you can start and be conversant with smart contracts, which have already been made. You won't need to come and reinvent the wheel yourself. You come in, you get the code, then now you edit the code to your preferences. If maybe it's an NFT, you wanted this NFT not to be tradable, you just go and edit just a few lines of code. If you want to maybe to integrate something maybe that you can join a smart contract that allows you to join two NFTs for security purposes, such that nobody can steal this NFT. Once it comes in, I lock it with another NFT. These smart contracts are already out there, and this is just one of them. Looking all the way from decentralized applications, most of this documentation is already out there. And I believe developers should be the ones leading in this conversation. And especially if you're from Powerland Project and you're here, this is just the start or the beginning of many other Web3 conversations that will be igniting in our communities. So just stay close to us, stay close to communities, stay close to people who are in this conversation, and let's move forward as Africa. So having said that, let me just look at the future. What are the prospects? What if we are able to realize some of these things? What does the future hold for Africa? So from the statistics that we have, Africa is agri-based landscape, if I may call it that. What we have seen coming in so far from the Web3 space or in the Web3 space is the financial aspect of it. We have seen we are seeing this what we call decentralized finance projects or startups coming up, and the adoption is not as much because they are not speaking the same language that Africans want to hear right now. But it must start with money moving. There is no way we can start building on Web3 and we cannot be able to get our money in the Web3 space. So I believe this is where we started, and we just need to keep moving in this direction so that we can now bring in solutions that fit Africa. So looking at the future, financial services have seen a lot of traction. In agriculture, what can we do? There's a lot of issues in Africa around land ownership and ownership of title deeds. We are seeing people coming up in the news with same title deeds for the same piece of land, and such cases are always there. And as Kenyans say, land issues take a lot of time in court. I believe the shortest time you can get with a normal case is around 15 to 20 years. So how can we leverage Web3 in this? Can we use the blockchain technology? Yes. And which aspect of it do we utilize in this case? We use the smart contracts. Smart contracts, remember, they are already coded with the agreements that are governing this specific contract. So once I issue a land title deed to someone, and it is in form of a smart contract, nobody else will be able to own this specific smart contract. If I move this specific piece of land, everybody else who has been following up on this specific smart contract will be able to see that actually I've sent this smart contract from here to here. So, and this is where the aspect of transparency of the blockchain comes in. It is so transparent in that everybody will be able to see what is happening on the blockchain in real time, and will be able to also track the movement of these smart contracts. Maybe is it funds, is it cryptos, and all that. Apart from that, looking at our voting systems, Africa is, let me say in quotes, rigged with voting and government issues when it comes to handling of power. So how can we improve this process? One of the ways is by use of these smart contracts and integrating them into our already what we have, the systems that we already have. So one of the ways smart contracts can really impact voting is we can be able to vote, and there won't be that issue of somebody stole the votes, somebody maybe voted twice, somebody voted for somebody who did not register, or somebody who passed on a long time ago. All these issues can be put into one, let me call it one bubble, and we burst it if we involve smart contracts in our voting systems. And this goes a long way. We can go all the way to talk about tenders. We see a lot of problems with tendering and procurement, especially in Africa, more so here in Kenya. That is one of the things we are really struggling with. You find that tenders are being issued out, fake companies, supplies are not being done, and all that. How can we utilize Web3 to come in as a helper in this by use of the smart contracts? And in this, we are highlighting the aspect of transparency and the aspect of also security. I believe we all know, or those who have already interacted with Web3, that blockchain is very, very secure. It is so hard to maybe compromise what has already been done there. Actually, for smart contracts, it's almost impossible to alter a smart contract. So this would be a very key foundation to putting Africa on the map, or to position ourselves to be a Web3 emerging hub. So apart from that, last but not least, the health aspects of it. I believe Africa, we have a lot of complications when it comes to the healthcare system. So how can we leverage the Web3 technology? And I would like to highlight blockchain in this aspect. So when we put our health records on the blockchain, what does that mean? And I'm happy with what Afya Record is doing. They are already getting into the space with on blockchain and health. So how can we do this for ourselves? What does it mean? So once I'm in Kenya right now, if I come to Nigeria, the doctor, and I fall sick in Nigeria, the doctor who is there will be able to look at my track record, will be able to see, last year I fell ill, I was treated here, I was given this medicine and all that. And that is what it means, putting all our data in one space for accessibility. And this place should be secure and very transparent. And I believe these are some of the key areas that if we address as a community, as an Africa community, we will be able to position ourselves better to adopt this Web3 technology. What do you think, Emeka, about that?
Yeah, I think you've said a lot and covers the fundamentals, and I believe that Africa, it's where the solution is actually more needed than the rest of the world. And you've mentioned a lot of problems or use cases like the land registry, health records, and I also think we could also use it to protect data and the supply chain on the supply chain system, where a lot of untransparency makes procurement, even in government, quite abused by the people who are meant to, be delivering on that. So yeah, I support that. All you've said are valid. we need to keep working as Africa to build solutions to solve this, what I say, social challenges that we face in Africa. And who else can do this if not Africa? I think Africans need to start solving their problems. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, America. As we near the end of our conversation tonight, let's look at the blockchain landscape in Africa. Let's look at the adoption. Which countries are leading in the Africa landscape? And personally, I would highlight Nigeria, which has a lot in millions transactions every day in cryptocurrencies, followed by South Africa and Kenya. Then Egypt comes in. But what are we really adopting? What are these guys doing? Because we are not really seeing these maybe applications that they are using gaining traction in the African landscape. So one of the things that we noticed in our research is that Africa, the way the conversation was brought to Africa, it was brought in as a space where you can come in, make a lot of money very fast. Maybe a space where you come in, you buy coins, they go up, you make some money. Maybe the conversation was not packaged the right way, but that is on my opinion. So looking at the figures that are being displayed, I was eager to try and understand where are these coming from. And we realized that the African landscape is working majorly on the P2P platforms. So what does it mean? What does P2P mean? P2P means peer-to-peer platform. And these platforms are what are enabling us to be able to send money and be able to convert this, to send cryptos and be able to convert these cryptos into fiat money. And looking at Kenya and Nigeria, these are some of the vibrant economies transacting with each other every day. So this leads now to my question, and maybe Emeka, you will help me answer this question. How can we leverage other opportunities in the Web3 space apart from just peer-to-peer? Because I believe peer-to-peer has been able to employ a lot of African youth. Personally, I know more than 5 people here in Kenya who are really doing well in P2P, and it is giving them maybe what I can call a living. I was also there once, and I used to buy crypto from Nigeria and sell it in Kenya. What we used to call arbitrage. So you find a market, you buy crypto there, you bring the crypto to another market. So Emeka, help me answer this question. How can we leverage unique opportunities that are in the Web3 space as we also try to position ourselves to attract investors, to attract all these good things that come with Web3?
Thank you for the question. So generally, we have to first understand what Web3 which you've defined, and how does this bring in a change for the sector I'm looking at. I think a research-driven approach to solving solutions for Africa would be very necessary. Why was it easy for people to actually, like Nigerians, become more OTC and arbitrate market or trading market? Is because, first of all, Africans are always looking for alternative source of income, of earning. And once that is the easiest place they can actually hold on to, where can generate some living or livelihood immediately for them. But as that has been generated, as that is being go, we have to also think, how do we convert the next stage in this era? So you've gotten to stage one, you've earned, you've made OTC deals, your incomes are coming. Now, the health system is down. The agro system is bad. The infrastructure and the supply chain is not working well. How can I use Web3 Web3 promises transparency, it promises decentralization, it promises a kind of an openness of business communication for people. Now we need to be able to get the data from what Web2 has been doing so far, because Web2 has actually also created some solution. But what has been the limit? Well, what can I do better with the Web3 solution, integrating maybe AI, big data to improve the Web2 systems to be better? I tell people that sometimes users don't really care about what technology you're using to create the solution. What users care about is convenience. So Africans have to think about convenience. Look at M-Pesa in Kenya. It's one of the most successful mobile payments solution across Africa because of what? The convenience it gives. Mobile phone, you make payment digitally anywhere, anytime. So we have to think about that when we're creating solution also on Web3. How can I make this easy for the market? How can I make this easy if it's an health solution? You take the health solution that has already been created in Web2. Then you start researching. I think the error we make is just to jump on solutions without doing those proper researches to find out or figure out where am I embedding the Web3 solution on this already existing solution to improve the system. I think we just have to think about improving the system, not like it's same, create a better mousetrap. So I think if we use that approach, we can be able to easily figure out on where to leapfrog African solutions to become more effective in solving our daily needs in the continent. So for me to say, how can we make this Web3 more effective in Africa? I think we have to take what is already being solved, then break it down, do a reverse engineering, and say, if I if I infuse Web3 solution here and plug in some stuff in here like AI and all that, it's going to help us improve how we process, how we collate or aggregate information or whatever. So I think with this approach, we can now be able to create more effective solutions. And when we're creating products, we should be more concerned about the end user's convenience. No matter how brilliant the ideas are, you have to be able to know that users do not care about the technology. They don't care about if you're building with AI. All they care about ChatGPT now is if they log into ChatGPT, they ask the question, they get an answer. The same thing with Google. You type, where can I get food in Kenya? You get the answers. Nobody, I'm sure a lot of people who have been using Google for those thousands or numbers of years or months do not even know how Google algorithm work to call up on those data that they search from their database. So nobody cares. I think majorly all the users do not care about that. What they care about is that the solution works, is convenient, and I can easily plug into it and get my responses. So thank you. That is what I was saying.
Wow, I believe that is, you have encompassed everything, and maybe I would just comment on the part where we as Africans look for convenience more than looking at maybe the technologies or what something can do for us. And this is where I would also call on developers. As we do our creative works, as we develop solutions for Africa, let's look at how we'll be able to come up with maybe applications or solutions that are adoptable, that talk to the lowest person or individual in the community or in the society strata. And this is how we'll be able to scale up. Because you have given, Emeka's given an example on M-Pesa. M-Pesa was really able to penetrate Kenya because of the use of USSD. It doesn't matter if you have a smartphone or the 2G phones, the 3G phones, any phone that you have, and you can be able to connect, it is working. You can put in the SIM card and you can be able to access this specific e-wallet. So this was a very brilliant idea, and I believe more are coming. But as we develop solutions for Africa, we as developers, let's look at how we'll be able to encompass almost everybody And let's not start at the top. Let's start at the bottom. Who is at the bottom of this community? Who is at the bottom of the strata? And let's try to find solutions that will include them, because in Africa, those are the majority in our communities. Yeah. You also talked about research. I believe this is one of the key areas that I see also developers going wrong about. Spend more time in research than in development, and this will make sure now that you're coming up with a solution that is viable, a solution that can be adopted, a solution that can penetrate society and communities. And I believe this is one of the, I'm calling on all developers, please let's work on research. If you are here and you are a developer, please let's look at research as the key foundation of our solutions for Africa. Yeah, before we continue the conversation, we will be showcasing a few Web3 products or applications. So towards the end of the conversation, we'll be displaying a few of those. So moving on with our conversation, now let's look at what is the role of maybe now we have looked at our communities and maybe what we need to do, what we need to change. Now, what about the stakeholders? What about our governments? What about big corporations? What about the big banks? What is their role? And how can they ensure that the ecosystem is thriving, is growing, is moving forward? And as we demystify this, let's also look at the knowledge aspect of it, because I believe Africa is lacking a lot of knowledge in the Web3 space, in cryptocurrencies, because looking at a simple example, if you tell someone, maybe just a local person, somebody who has not maybe gone through school and all that, when you talk to them about something like a cryptocurrency, maybe most of the receptions I get is that this is maybe a scam, or this is something that people lose money and all that. While on the contrary, we are seeing governments like the United States of America. The government is buying Bitcoin in bulk, is storing Bitcoins. Big banks, Wells Fargo, Citibank, they are buying cryptocurrencies and storing them. Okay, that is now the United States. Let's go to China. China is building a reserve for Ethereum. They're already doing something on the Ethereum blockchain, and they are storing these specific cryptos for use for themselves. And we really don't know how they will use them. But what I would imagine is that this is maybe the .com bubble that happened in the few decades ago. And what happened is we Africans missed on these opportunities. And why was this? Because we were not able to jump on these opportunities at the right time. And maybe we can blame the media for miscommunication or bringing in the wrong angle of the conversation. But right now, as we are now better, what can we do? We can take in the right information. So where does the doubt come in that you would not want to get into blockchain technology? Where does the doubt come in that you do not want to own cryptocurrency? Yet the biggest superpowers in the continent are already buying and keeping these specific cryptocurrencies. So I can imagine a position where we find ourselves in maybe the next 20 or 25 years. We do not have the cryptos. We do not have the Bitcoins. It is the banks, the big banks that bought the Bitcoin, who are now controlling this ecosystem. So, and these are some of the things that maybe we would want we would want to avoid. So what role does these stakeholders have, these big corporations? What can they do? Looking now away from collaborations and partnerships, how can we enforce? Is it academia? Is it maybe integrating Web3 in our maybe higher institutions, higher learning institutions? How can we bring out the best? Maybe Emeka, you can help me demystify that as we near the end.
So, hello.
Emeka, yes.
Yeah, you asked a question. Sorry. I think my network broke. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, great. So we're asking about
We lost you, Emeka.
can you hear me now?
We lost you.
Can you hear me now?
We can't get you, Emeka.
Oh.
Okay,
Hello?
so as Emeka, sorry? Yes,
Can you
we
hear
can hear you, but you.
Okay, I think my network is down. Please, can you go ahead? Let me see.
Your connection is not stable. Okay, no problem, no problem. Maybe as Emeka is looking into that. If you have any questions, please post them up on the chat because we are almost ending the session. Also, we have a small presentation. I think I'll just go forward with it. I will be showing you a few products that are leveraging the Web3 technologies. So just a moment. Okay, can you see my screen? So I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see. Can you hear me now?
Okay, so this is a Web3 game. It's a metaverse. The setting is a metaverse, leveraging Web3 technologies. And this game is called Upland. These are some of the first technologies that landed into the metaverse. This is based on real estate. So what you do on this game is that you come, you buy land, you build properties, and you can open a shop on your property, you can rent your properties, and all that. On to development, they also upgraded the game whereby you can now, once you buy a property, maybe you have bought a whole street or a whole estate, you can be able to design a racing track, which is in form of now an NFT, and people pay to come and race there. They also have ads where you can display on the side of the road and all that. Apart from that, these are their governance coins. They are called Apex. So with Apex, for example, these are my properties, the properties that I own. The game is based in the US, so these are locations in the US, and these locations are real time. So if you buy properties, they will be getting you some coins, or what I can call rent, every other 24 hours. So once you come here, just collect all your earnings and they go inside your wallets. And this is what you also use to purchase properties, okay? So let me just show you maybe some of my properties. So these are some of the things I made for this specific presentation. So for this property, you see I have put it on sale. So you can come and sell your property at any time, and you can sell for USD or you can sell for the Apex coins, the governance coins. So one more interesting thing is that as you move around this ecosystem, you need to be hopping on to other people properties. So if I'm moving from New York to Washington, from Staten Island to Washington, D.C., I will have to come and click somebody's property in Washington, D.C. and land there. And how is this possible? You are able to come and pay this Apex fee that I'll be charging on my property. So once you come and hop on to my property, you must be able to pay this 100 UPX or Apex so that you can now relocate or come to the next location. Okay, there's also this property that I recently finished constructing. And one interesting thing about the metaverse is that it uses real time, or what I can call real life data or statistics. So in building this specific building, it took me around 375 days, which is what you can take for the time you can take to build maybe a 4-story flat or something. But for this specific one, it's a 3-story building. And we can see it. Yeah, and this is yeah. Okay, seems I can't decorate it right now, but you can already see the property. Just finished it recently, so maybe I'll be able to do that in a few days. So you can also come here and have a street view. So for the street view, you won't be able to see the property itself, but you'll be able to see the real time, what is on this land in this specific location. So this is the land I bought. And this is where now I have monetized, I've built my real estate in the metaverse version of it. But what is interesting is that you can come in and also move around. You can pick different locations. Maybe you have never seen the New York Times Square. You can get an address, search for it, go there and explore these spaces. So this is one of the applications that is really making use of the Web3 technology. And as I have explained, you can also see some of the opportunities that are there. So you can come here, buy property, start your real estate business and all that. Maybe I want to show you something else. So when I say it is almost as real time or real life situations, I mean if you are moving from one location to another in the same county, that is possible. But if I want to cross country, I must come and use a train or air transport. So you must also be conversant with these systems. And this is where now it is bringing in that user experience. It is like you are living in the United States. So when you want to move from Dallas to maybe Los Angeles, or Las Vegas to Los Angeles, how do you move? Do you use a train? Do you use a flight? What are the charges? So if I come here and I try to hop on to this specific airplane, I'll be charged a certain amount of Apex. And this is now where it really brings out the aspect of you being able to live in this specific metaverse as if you are living in the real life. So you are spending money, you can build your own properties, you can open up a shop and all that. As I end this presentation, I would like to show you a shop so that you also see how commerce is coming in. So for anybody who would want to start maybe using this game and all that, talk to me on the chat. I'll be able to onboard you and help you get a few Apex to start your journey. Just a moment. So all the green dots that you're seeing, these are properties that are for sale. So if you see a blue property, that property is definitely not for sale. You can see this is the exchange at Washington. I'm looking for a shop. Just a moment. Yeah, this is a representation of a phone. Sorry, of a shop. So let's give it 1 second. So remember, if you have questions, please put them on the chat. Put them on the chat. So this is an example of a shop, and I would also like you to understand that you design all of this as you prefer. So you can see this this is an NFT shop, and you can also see the prices here. So if you're interested to buy anything that is selling, this is where you come in. If you want to use your in terms of dollars, or you want to use your currency in terms of Apex, that is also possible. I believe I should end the presentation at that for now. But if you feel you can come in here and maybe start exploring the metaverse and maybe these Web3 technologies, put it up on the chat. I'll be able to get you from there and onboard you. Emeka, I think you're back.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, just comment on this and as we close the session tonight.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are loud and clear.
Oh, great. Okay. So these are like some of the use cases and gamification of these games as kind of, it's kind of also a learning process for property acquisition. People see this just as a game, but it's also a way to enable people to find another way to acquire assets that maybe in the nearest future, instead of saying you have a plot of land somewhere in Kenya, you could actually acquire a property on Metaverse that has real value based on trusted ecosystem. So I think the future is advancing, and it's proper that we also prepare ourselves to advance for the future. Thank you so much for this.
Okay, thanks so much. Let me just look at the chat quick fast. So somebody is asking, how can someone get started with Web3 development? Are there any recommended programming languages or frameworks? What I would basically say is that you need basic foundations in general coding so that you'll be able to know environments such as VS Code. But diving into Web3, what you would need maybe to understand is a solidity to start with, and being able to understand where to deploy your works once you finish. So it's a matter of just understanding where to start with the coding environment and all that. As I said, most of these Web3 technologies are what I can say quite complex, and what what this led to is that they are, let me call them templates. So as you come to develop maybe such a game, smart contracts are already there, and all these other things. So it's just about understanding the basics of code. And if you maybe you do not have somewhere to start, you do not have a platform where you can get academia resources, you can join Powerland projects. You can check our website, powerlandproject.org, and you can also register for our next cohort there. And that is maybe a very good starting point for you in this journey. I believe I have answered your question. Sorry, in terms of recommended programming languages, Web3, let's say dApps, decentralized applications, they are built on Solidity. So Solidity is just that place you just have to go and start there. If you are good in Python, this will be easier for you because Python is mostly used in machine learning and all that. So if you have Python and Solidity, you are good to go. And if you don't have somewhere to start, join us at powerlandproject.org. Our registrations are currently open. So visit our website and you can start there. Interested on gaming exploration, kindly onboard me. Okay, so I really don't know how to go about this. But if you are in our community, please hit me up on the inbox, Mr. Monene. Please hit me up on the inbox so that I be able to onboard you. I'll also be sharing you to our Discord where it is better to interact with this kind of a platform in terms of gaming. Yeah. So kindly just find me on the community, Telegram community, and hit me up in my inbox. It is currently open. Okay. Is there any other concern or question? Okay. Is there any other comments or concern or question? Okay, so before we finish the session, do not forget that we have event coming up with NODO on the 21st. This will be a continuation of what we have talked about today. So if you are ready to learn more, if this has interested you and you really want to start onboarding yourself in the Web3 space, join us on the 21st with NODO here in Nairobi. We'll be having a live events in Parklands. So more details are also in our community. One thing you realize with Powerland is that our community is very vibrant, and that is where we do most of our communications from. So just join our community, come with your friends, let's hang out, let's have some fun, let's get away from the technical aspect of things, and let's see, let's look at the fun side of Web3, and we'll be having a very good time. I believe that is all from me today. There's nobody I've locked out. So this is just the start of the mini series that we'll be holding. And thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks so much, Emeka, for keeping me company here. I believe we did this maybe on a short time, in a short time. But thanks so much for coming through. And thanks so much for the support. Maybe any last words before we end the session?
Yeah, great. So remember that best thing that can happen to Africa is proper collaboration. I think every other continent might not collaborate, but Africa needs to collaborate. And that's why you see that Powerland Project, NODO, and Emurgo Africa keeps working together because the continent needs that collaboration. So as a people, we also need to collaborate. Do endeavor to reach out to me, reach out to Munene. You can follow, if you're on Twitter, you can go on Twitter to follow PLP Africa on Twitter, or you can also follow at Emurgo Africa on Twitter. Let's stay connected, let's keep collaborating, let's keep sharing information, and let's open up African market to the world. Thank you all for joining us, and I appreciate the time spent with you all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Emeka. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending this webinar. We look forward to seeing you on the 21st and on the next session. Thank you so much. Have a very good evening.